Hey there, and welcome back to another video. I get questions all the time about jazz improvisation. How do I play over this chord? What should I think about here? I've done a whole bunch of different types of videos about improvisation, and I have a whole playlist in the description down below, so you can check out all those different types of videos. One question I get a lot is, I don't know a lot of different scales, a lot of different sounds, but I hear some altered things and I do want to add other color to my playing. How should I start doing that? So this video is the first one in a little mini series I'm doing where I'm going to show you how to play those more outside sounds using some simple altered notes. If you're more beginner, yes, you can still do this. This is not going to be ultra complicated. I might say some complicated things like flat this, sharp that, alter this, whatever, but I'm only going to be doing one or two notes at a time. And in today's video, I'm going to be doing two simple altered notes that will really improve your playing and give you that more colorful sound. What notes am I talking about? Well, first I'm going to be doing it over a major 2-5-1, and we're going to be altering a couple notes over the 5 chord, the dominant chord. The two notes we're going to be playing are the sharp 9 and the flat 9. That's right, we're using the altered ninth sounds in this video. There is a PDF that I made that goes along with this that I'm going to jump into in a second. It explains where these ninths come from, and I also wrote out a whole bunch of diatonic and altered lines in all 12 keys for you. That's right, I already did the transposition for you because a lot of you asked me for that. So the only thing you need to do to get that PDF is to go to the top of the description down below, click that link, or you can go in the pinned comment, or you can just go to davepollack.com/altered ninth. That's the word altered, the number 9th. Also, really quick, before I jump into the worksheet, show you around, show you the lines, and actually demonstrate all of them for you, back in December, I had the great honor of flying to London, England, to be a guest soloist at Abbey Road Studios. That's right, the Abbey Road Studios, playing along with Randy Brecker. It was Randy Brecker, his wife Ada Ravati, and the Princeton Studio Band. The song I soloed on is called Be Sorry, and it's actually out now on YouTube, and I'm going to put the link to that in the description down below. Definitely go check it out. It's a really cool tune, and it was an honor to get to solo, not only just with that band and with those great artists, but at that amazing recording studio. Go check that video out. Without any further ado, let's jump into the worksheet. All right, as you see, we're now inside the altered ninth worksheet. And just so you know, when I play, I'm going to be playing in the key of concert C, even though I'm playing it on alto saxophone. Everything is written in concert because I don't know what instrument you're playing. So technically I'm playing in my A on alto, but it's in concert. But like I said before, I wrote out all of these lines in all 12 keys. So when you download that worksheet, make sure you go get that worksheet using the link below. You can look at any key that you want, and you could transpose it to whatever you want because it's in all 12 keys. So we're going to be starting with a 2-5-1 in C major, and I'm going to be doing what's called a short 2-5-1, or at least what I call a short 2-5-1. So just 2 beats of the 2 chord, 2 beats of the 5 chord, and then we have the resolution chord. In this case is 4 beats. I'm not going to go over in this video what a 2-5-1 is or how I come to those notes or what a short 2-5-1 is. Once again, in that playlist down below, the improvisation playlist, I go over 2-5-1s in multiple different videos. I talk about long, short, altered, diatonic, all this different stuff. Go check out those if you're not sure what a 2-5-1 even is. But in this case, we're doing a 2-5-1 in C major, and the chord we're going to be focusing on is the G7, the dominant chord, the 2-5-1, the 5 in the middle. So, like I said, we're going to be altering the ninth. In a G7 chord, you have G, B, D, F natural, and the ninth would be A. That'd be the natural diatonic ninth. We're going to be playing the flat 9 and the sharp 9. Are these the only alterations over G7 chord you could do? No. In this video, though, I want you to focus on just these two notes, just altering the ninth. If you know anything about the way I like to teach, it's to simplify things. Sure, I could give you 5,000 different ideas to do it, but it's going to be paralysis by analysis. I want you to just focus on the ninth, just flatting the ninth, sharpening the ninth. That's it, to give you the color that you want. And the cool thing about this is because we're only focusing on one note, altering it into 2 notes, only over the 5 chord, what we're going to end up with is a diatonic 2 chord, so playing in the key of the 2, resolving on a nice diatonic chord tone in the 1, but all the action is going to be here over that G7. We have consonant, tension, release. So it's kind of diatonic, little outside, back to diatonic. That tension and release is really cool, and it's fun to play with, especially harmonically like this. And as we'll see in a second, I don't change the rhythm at all, and I don't change the 2 chord or the 1 chord. It's just over that 5 chord where we're going to be altering things. Now, you might be saying, why are you altering the ninth anyway? Well, the first reason why is that it just sounds cool to me and a lot of other people. That is the only justification you need, by the way. You don't need me telling you what to play. You don't need your teacher at school telling you what to play. You don't need your private teacher telling you what to play. If you come across a sound, an idea when you're playing and you're like, oh, I like that, don't say to yourself, well, but like, is that right? Or should I play that? Or did Charlie Parker play? If you like it, play it. Now, if you're trying to play a specific, written part, but you want to change it, that's a different thing. But if we're talking about improvisation, you don't have to know the justification up front to play something. Sure, it's a good idea to then learn the justification so you can use it in more situations and you can understand it and apply it in, different spots. But it sounds cool, so that's one of the reasons why we use it. But also it comes from these two scales. So because we're talking about the G scale, or the G chord, I should say, we're going to be looking at the G altered scale and the G half whole diminished scale. These are two commonly used scales to create color and tension over dominant chords. I'm not going to go over the whole scale today, altered scale or half whole diminished. I might get into those in a later video, hint, hint. But for right now, we're only focused on those two notes, the flat 9, the sharp 9, okay, over G7, which appear in both these scales. Here's what each of these scales sounds like. All right, I just played them for you because I want you to hear them. I'm not going to be using the entire scale today and using the entire altered sound or the diminished sound in this video because we're only focused on the flat 9, sharp 9. I just want you to have that kind of in your ear so you know where it's coming from. So basically, here's what this PDF is, and here's where I think it's good for you to practice and how you should start practicing playing these more outside sounds. Not just with this specific flat 9, sharp 9, but really with anything. And if you know how I teach, you know how I'm going to go about this, where you start with something and then you just focus on one element of altering it, and that's it. You don't do different moving things, okay? I'm going to do a little analogy here that some of you might understand, a lot of you won't understand. I like working on cars. I like working on carbureted cars and drag race engines and stuff like that. If I went to go say, I need to fix my carburetor, I don't think it's running right, I'm not going to adjust the air-fuel mixture and the idle speed and the float, and I'm going to mess with, the metering block and all that stuff. I'm not going to do all of them at once and let's see if it works. You do one thing at a time. Let me just, richen it up a little bit. Let me put some different jets in the primaries. Okay, different jets in the secondaries. If that goes over all your heads, I apologize. But the point is, you change one thing at a time. So here, we're only altering ninth. So what I did was I wrote out 4 separate lines. Diatonic lines number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then I also wrote out altered lines 1, 2, 3, 4. If you look at these lines, all 4 of them right here in the key of concert C, you'll notice that the line that I played over the 2 chord stays the same. You'll notice that the resolution note stays the same. The only thing that changes is over the 5 chord, instead of, right here I have B natural, A natural, that's the natural 3, natural 2. I have B flat, A flat, okay? B flat being A sharp. Is B flat technically the sharp 9 of G? Technically, no. So if you're taking like an AP music theory test out there, that would be incorrect. It's technically the flat 3rd. But for purposes of reading the line and the way the line is shaped, I wrote B flat. Don't kill me on that. Listen, I'm not in school anymore. I can write whatever I want. The point is the sound is that note and that note. Those 2 notes right there instead of these 2 notes right here. So you'll notice that all the way through. I have a completely diatonic line, then I have the exact same line, but just 2 notes altered. And also, I made sure in the diatonic line to include the notes A and B, so that way, when I did the altered line, it's A flat, B flat. So we get flat 9, sharp 9. So right now, what I'm going to do is play all 4 of these lines, the diatonic lines and the altered lines, all the way through so you can hear them in their entirety, and you can kind of understand where the simple diatonic line lies and how it sounds, and how just changing those 2 notes and adding in the sharp 9 and the flat 9 can really add some color to the playing without changing the line. That's the whole key here, is that we're not learning some crazy Michael Brecker lick and some wild Chris Potter line. All we're doing is taking a very simple diatonic line and just altering just a little bit of harmony to create something new. Check it out. right, I hope you liked those lines, and if you really enjoy any of them, remember, they're all in the PDF in all 12 keys, so make sure you pick that up. Are these lines the epitome of perfect improvisation? No. Is the flat 9, sharp 9 the best thing you could ever play? Maybe, maybe not. The point here is a lot of you are sometimes scared of diving into that realm of altered stuff. You feel like you have to be at a certain level to do it. You really don't. It's just 12 notes that we're playing. So it's just knowing when to play certain notes to give a certain sound. That's all it is. All colorful playing and outside playing is knowing where a certain chord is, knowing what the notes are, and then knowing how other notes react over that chord. Like playing the note B and playing the note B flat, there's no difference in playing those notes like skill-wise, right? If you know how to play B, you know how to play B flat, you now know how to play the third or the sharp 9 over G7. The thing is, I'm trying to show you how to use it in a simple way, and you don't need to create wild, crazy, these intricate lines. You can take a simple diatonic line that a lot of you can already play, or you can practice and get it under your fingers in a relatively quick amount of time. And then from that, you don't have to learn something new. You just have to alter what you're already playing to then create something new. I really encourage you to try this out and write out your own lines too. It's not like these 4 lines are the only thing I want you to practice. I just wanted to give you some sample lines. You should really go in and write a diatonic 2-5-1 and then maybe try to add the 9th or the 3rd there as well in it, and then go back and write in the sharp 9 and the flat 9 and alter those notes. Keep the same shape of the line. You can change the rhythms. You can do different intervals, all that stuff. I just wanted to give you 8th notes in here just to make it simple and not add too many variables to it. When you're practicing these lines, really think about what you're starting with. Like, what is my diatonic line? What's the shape of the line? Because if the line doesn't sound good diatonically, it's probably not going to sound good when you add altered notes. So think about shape, think about the rhythm, think about your starting note, think about your landing note. All those little things. Obviously, all those non-note musical elements are important, the tone and your dynamics, your articulation, all that stuff, obviously. But in this video, we're just talking about harmony. Another thing that you can do, and the final thing I'm going to say about practicing this, is if you have access to backing tracks, like I was just using iReal Pro, like I use most of the time here, what you can do is just put it on the 30 choruses or loop it over the 2-5-1 or whatever, and instead of writing out a line or playing my written line, just mess around with it. Play something diatonic over the 2 chord, and then aim for the sharp 9, flat 9 over that 5 chord, and then resolve it. Just try to do that over and over and over again, and then you're going to come up with some really cool lines, and you're going to say, oh, I really like that, and then you can maybe go back, write it down, practice it in 12 keys, and now that's your own vocabulary that you came up with. Don't forget to grab this free worksheet by going to davepollack.com/altered 9th. And you can also just go to the top of the description down below. There's a link there. And also I'll put the same link in the pinned comment. Also go check out my solo over Be Sorry live from Abbey Road Studios with Randy Brecker, Otto Rovati, and the Princeton Studio Band. The link to that will be in the description down below as well. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.